activities, and there we go. Hello, remote. We're about to do the check-in. Okay, so museum group, you can start.
Okay. So yesterday we discussed what we were gonna do today, and we have to decide on what's to prototype in the VR environment.
Mm-hmm.
And we discussed the cost, and we have to do like the cost analysis today proper, because now we're just like doing estimates. And I guess we have to see what's possible with the prototyping and then start making stuff.
Okay.
Then we're going to meet with the other students later and ask them for advice and stuff.
Okay.
And go to the VR lab too.
Yep. Okay.
Free prototype.
Right. Have you organised a meeting with your externals at all? Have you been in contact with them and discussed when you would next see them?
Like you mean
the museum people rather than the programmers?
No, yes, we have to do that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So chemistry group.
Yes. We're going to try to start and develop the VR stuff today. There's a few bugs just in the testing the VR stuff, but we need to fix that obviously. We don't know how long that will take, so let's give it a go.
Okay.
Tuva did an interview with the local high school teacher, who apparently said that she's kind of old school, so she doesn't think a game would help us that much. But she changed her mind when she was told about the capabilities of VR.
I got there. It was really difficult. She was very hostile.
Right.
She was just very much like, so a game. But that's interesting. Okay. So yeah, it was one of the harder interviews I've done. But I was able to kind of get her talking, and then I had to explain a lot more from our perspective than I'm used to, just to get her to really understand what we were doing, that it's not just a game, you know. Because she was very worried about, when every time we introduce games, all the children it's all about the fun and not about the learning. So that was a very important point. And then I didn't want to go into, sometimes having fun is a very good, way of approaching learning, but I realized that she wasn't gonna budge. So yeah, I kind of went on her level and dealt with it.
Right. Yeah. And
Huh? How old? I think 60s. Maybe. She was a young 60-year-old. She looked 30.
But yep, so you had that interview, so that gave you some more design kind of input as to some of the things you need to emphasize for her.
Yeah, well, that was the other part, that it was very difficult to get her to answer my questions. She were more interested in asking questions than answering mine, so it was very difficult to actually get something good from her.
Right.
But I was able to get a few points that she mentioned that at least we should take into account when we work with the science. Hopefully, so it wasn't a complete waste of time, but it was
a struggle.
Yeah, it was a struggle, but it was good. But that happens sometimes.
It's a good experience to have.
Can't be lucky every time.
Yep.
It's probably easier to get her feedback once you have something to demo, something that she can experience, because it's very hard if you have a mindset there and you try to set up requirements, something very different. It's sometimes very hard for her to do, but if you want to get her into the world and into the play, it's easier to get her immediate feedback, I would assume.
Yeah, I think so too. And it was after I kind of demonstrated what the system could allow us to do that she became more positive about, because she's the last point was like, okay, I was a bit negative when we first started, but I think you guys have something. I think this will be interesting to see where you guys go. So she was interested after I left. So.
Okay. Well, and that's a good thing, because once you put her in VR, I think yes, I know a lot. Yeah, it can change.
Total seasick.
Maybe she gets seasick immediately, and then she'll just hate everything. So, but no, I think there is also another step up once they, Runa said, once they see something and can see the VR aspect of it. That, and also to emphasize that this isn't about what necessarily can be done with what's currently in the school, right? So this is not a intervention that they're just going to use everything they currently have and do something. This is about looking at what education will be and what's happening over the next 5 years as VR starts coming through, right? So it's not, so you don't have to say, oh, well, we can do this with what you currently have, right? Which is much more of a kind of, so that would be an innovation action. This is more of a research at this stage, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, even if you guys continue on with any of these projects to do your master's thesis, that's still, you know, another 18 months before you've finished, right? Before you finished your master's and gone out and then into the world. And so 18 months of technological development and price changing means, yeah, I'm not sure how good it will be by then, or what cost will be, or any of those sort of things. So, yeah. Okay, that's good. And so today, you as designers, what are you guys going to be working on?
We talked about trying to develop more of a user story, just to kind of make the communication easier between programs and designers.
Yep.
So that we have some really nice task sequence that we can start working on.
Yep. It might also be interesting for some of you to go and have a look at some of the blueprint stuff that these guys are doing, because some of it is actually relatively easy to understand from a just general flow diagram point of view. So it may be that some of you can actually start contributing to the actual coding as well, right?
We're doing it in Unity, not in Unreal. But
You're doing in Unity rather than there's still a lot of drag and drop in Unity.
From the figures
and
so on, but not the codes that much.
Yeah. But so one of the interesting things, and one of the games companies, what they did is they actually put their designers next to the programmers, so the designers would be talking with the programmers while the programmers are programming, right? Once you get to the point where you've actually got things on screen and functional, right? So it's and then, you know, there would be a more direct flow between the two. So that's also something potentially to try. But again, remember, this is expert in teams, so you guys can experiment with different ways of communicating between the different actions, right? So if that doesn't work, you can talk about it. Okay? So sometimes it's even useful to try things that you think might not work just to see if it does. Right. Okay, so that's good. You guys have a plan today, right? So that corner there. So how's collaborative space working?
We can find for currently defining students quarter of the time an hour. So you could push it a bit back.
Yep. To allow a little bit more time for this sort of thing. Yep.
So today we're probably going to try to get some programming down, something that we're doing brainstorming about features we want the spectator camera to have.
I like to have a point of view, general point of view on what kind of features we think that can be useful, and then narrow down to what it can be implemented right now, or just to set in future development. And I'm going also to watch some videos about people doing this, working on cameras in cinema.
Okay. So have
VR streaming.
Have you talked to young Gregor?
He hasn't been there.
Okay, so you've not been able
He
to
might
cross
be there today.
streams with him.
I've been working with him on the free time, but not on
Okay.
project.
So because I was having a look at his spectator cameras. So he was doing having multiple cameras, and he also seems to have resolved the challenge. It's a low-level feature, engine feature you have to disable to make it render for testing purposes local view and a different view in the headset. Right, so there is a trick in that. But he was doing the having multiple cameras around, and I can preview them by putting my hand on them. And so if you have a look at his stuff, he's got quite a bit of that. Yeah.
Using it to test them.
Yeah, so he's using it to test some of his demos, so that's good. And for streaming, the Unreal live streaming component, have you had a look at that? Okay, so in Unreal there is a one of the blueprint nodes you can bring in is the live streaming node, which also has the start web camera and webcam feature, but it can also stream. They're discussing it can stream any window from the editor and things, so you can actually do stream for. They were doing a Twitch plugin, but then Twitch API got all crazy and stuff. But so you could stream your development process, but so in the Unreal Engine itself, there are a bunch of tools that support streaming. So also look at those. But yep. So and you're going to do some analysis and use cases on what people are streaming and what people are spectating. Okay. Right. So puzzle, future time, past time, zoo environment group. How are you guys going?
Yes. So we managed to get our idea finally last week. Most of the time has actually been spent on getting sort of the rest of the group to know, or sort of getting the rest of the group to ignore everything about thinking of the game development and just thinking of the ideas, which is kind of hard. Because I don't want an easy project. I want a project that might be fun and maybe educational. So it seems to work. We haven't done any development yet. I haven't even looked into much of the VR. I've never done VR either before. So that's something that we need to do. We're probably starting some basic design today. Try and get our ideas in. I think that's basically it. Group's working fine. One of our group members is currently in the Alps. Two of them are late, but they'll show up. So it's working.
Okay. So and for your kind of time slipping asset stuff, have you found an asset library, or you know of an asset library, or
no? Okay, I'll probably have to write it. So
okay.
It's not. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. We did when I was there in the first semester in game programming, we did a game where we had multiple times. Well, that was in 2D, and then we used Game Maker. We sort of had 3 different rooms, so we just swapped between rooms. That's probably what we're going to do as well. It's just, or for the simplest sake, just have 3 identical things loaded at the same time, or loading them asynchronously and just sort of teleporting.
Yep.
It's the easiest way rather than keeping track of all the assets.
Okay. Yep. Well, that sounds good. So, do you guys what are the questions that you have? Do you have any questions for us today? Are there resources that you need us to provide with you? Or are you mostly feeling happy to have a day just to focus on the project?
I think we need some help to get started.
Okay. Right. So, and so that's down in the VR room prototyping. Yeah. So, potentially Nicolaus can help with some of that. Being on Nicolaus with some of that.
Well, I'll probably also try and try to test out, download some of the basic Unity things.
Okay.
Just want to see what kind of things in that scripting package that I use.
Okay, now that's good. Okay, right. So it will look like my most useful place to be might be down in the VR lab helping with some Unity stuff later in the afternoon. Yeah. Okay. Any further? So I'll report on the distance team. So they've handed in they submit their stuff to me by email. So they had a significant struggle starting up because organizing people when they've got children and they've been sick and they're distance teams, and so they've had a slow start. They found the meeting with Annalie very effective, and they played some games, some FIFA games and some online games, to try and create some more social feeling, and they felt that that was actually quite successful in getting them to feel more connected. And they've included Annalie in the chat. They've been analyzing a couple of different collaboration tools so far. This week, they're analyzing the second one, but they're analyzing the Jira Bitbucket semantic commit collaboration technique for this week. So they'll be pushing through those and doing a full analysis on how it supports group dynamics and doing a test on those tools this week. And also another tool that Magda and Padam are going to be testing. But they're mostly working in the evenings because one of their members works during the day. So, and that means that they have to work most evenings rather than just one day, right? So it's quite a different work pace. And it creates challenges because, finding time and organizing people when they've got different schedules is, of course, a challenge, right? But that's one of the things we have to work out in this course. Does that make any sense? Or do we just have to say distant students can't do this? Right? So that's partly what also they're experimenting with and trying to find out. Okay. Right, great. Thank you, guys, and get to work.